SCARS manual, we're going to be starting with lesson number 1. Lesson number 1 is off of a grab. All right, I'm going to explain the targets and exactly how to do this, so watch and pay attention. First thing we do is, as a person grabs this, we're going to bend our knees down and rotate, keeping this arm straight, come up over, and you want to try to hit right across here, or bring your arm across the high radial, and this will catch the low radial. But what really breaks this is the shoulder group. It's not hitting the arms. It's merely the shoulder group here is collapsing and putting pressure and leverage on the hand, and this allows us to complete the move downward. We come down from here, puts him in this position. His arms are below ours. It exposes the neck, the throat, any target we want to hit up here. But in this lesson, we're going to be hitting the side of the neck. So they hit the side of the neck. Now again, hitting the side of the neck, and then in this man you can see that it's a nice muscle group right here. When you hit this muscle group, it pinches that nerve. That's the vagus nerve, or on the strike chart, it's called the pneumogastric nerve sheath. And in that sheath lies that vagus nerve. So as we hit there, that loosens him up, starts him to relax, starts him to start to pass out. And we come forward, hit the groin. That puts him down below us and kind of exposes, as you can see, his chin's out slightly. This is weakening, and from this angle, we'll turn this around in just a minute so we can get this one target. But from this angle, I'm going to take a nice straight cross, use my two knuckles here, and hit right at the base of the ear, right at the jaw line, driving him down and knocking him out. Now that's the first lesson in the SCARS manual. And again, very simple. As we go through this manual, we'll see it starts out simple, and then more aggressive, and more complicated to change and develop your high coordination skills. But this is a good basic fighting technique. It knocks the man out and breaks his jaw. Done very quickly. Okay, now we're going to do it with the sounds. Okay, sounds are a little bit different. Now, say the man's got you. First sound I'm going to make, because I'm making a large circle, is wah. So here it goes. Wah. Now, I want to make a short snapping movement back, so I'm going to go, yeah. Then I'm going to come up and do another large circle move, which is whoa. And then I'm going to take a nice cross, which again is that quickness, a quick move, a straight move. So I'm going to go, yeah. And that drives him down. Okay, we're going to turn this one around. See on the other side. So you can see it from a little different angle. And I'm going to do the moving a little bit more quicker, like we're working out. Okay, right? Whoa. Yeah, whoa, yeah. Okay, as you saw there, is that I picked up the speed, and breathing dynamics gives me more power. Notice I drop down. Now this man is slightly smaller than me, so you notice I still don't try to stand up high, because I say, well, I'm above him. If I'm above him, that's not good. You always want to try to get down below his chin at the original level. So that means the original level, starting here, throwing a flight somewhere around between here and here with my head. Well, let's try that one more time with the breathing. Wait. Whoa, yeah, whoa, yeah. Again, staying down low from that original point. All right, now we finished the prior lesson. Now what we want to do is go to lesson number 2 in the SCARS book. And again, every time you see us do it on the video, you should be reading the manual and getting the very specifics in that technique, because that's why we took the time to draw them out. And that's also why we took the time to write about them. So you're getting kind of a dual benefit here. You're getting the concept of the support of a video to show you how it looks, in case you're just starting out. And for those that have been with us for a while, you get the added benefits of us talking a little bit more specifically about the technique, actually talking to you out there personally, and that's why we're taking the time with these videos. As you'll see, we're going to take that time to talk about each move and about how to apply it. This way here, you basically have me in your living room or wherever you're viewing this, personally talking to you. So let's go ahead and do lesson number 2. Now, lesson number 2 is off of a right. Throws the right punch. What you want to do is in here, you're going to strike down. Now, it's always good to aim for the higher radial when you get a little more aggressive, but if not, you can aim for the lower radial. Either one of these will weaken the hand, causing it to open, and if there's a weapon in it, or even if he wants to use it against you, he'll have a slightly open hand, And when he's hitting you with an open hand, it's basically going to be collapsing, and that could be breaking his knuckles, weakening his wrist, and so forth. All right, so again, off to that left, strike down to that radial using our personal piece of pipe, like you say in the book. Down, completing it through, bringing it around. Now, we're leaving this open so you can see what we're doing, and then when we pick up the speed, you'll see that opening doesn't quite exist the same ratio. So as I open it up here, I want to come, step in with the left. I'm going to hammer to the collarbone. That's going to turn him that way, get him off to the side, and then I'm going to hook him to the solar plex, bringing him down, bringing his head in this direction. I'm down low. I have my horse stance, and I'm going to come up, and I'm going to punch right, bring him up in the chin, exposing him back. As he starts to walk back, I'll stomp kick to the groin and drive him down. Now, I can either stomp kick, which would drive him down right in front of me, or I can piston kick, which may lead him up, assuming that I didn't get the rest of the target. But remember, he has a broken collarbone. All right, now that you see it that direction, let's turn this around so you can see the collarbone shot. And we'll walk you through the example one more time before I do the breathing. Okay, Blake. Strike down the radial. Notice how the shoulders drop down. As I come in here, I immediately hammer, breaking the collarbone. 3 to 5 pounds of pressure, not much. Then you come in here, a nice hook to the solar plex, and then I come up, bringing him up. Now notice in this relationship, I'm still off to the side. I'm not going to fight right in front of him. But where my foot is, as I come over here, now I'm in perfect line, and then I kick to the groin, driving him down, finishing the technique. All right, now we're going to go to the breathing, and we'll stay in this relationship. All right, so I want to throw the punch. Hua, ya, hua, hua, duh. Now notice when I kick, I step forward. I don't kick and come back. Because whenever you really kick people, they go down or back, and you don't want to open up that space. Okay, let's do it from a different angle. One more breathing dynamics for this technique. Wait. Hua, ya, hua, ya, duh. Okay, and there in the last uppercut, I pulled from the hua to the ya. Now, when you do that, what will happen is your dynamics of your body will shorten up. Now, for an uppercut, if I'm close, I can choose to use those sounds to help me do different durations of movement. Because really what sound does is, majorly, it controls that duration of movement. So that if I make a real fast sound, I've got to have a real fast movement. So circles take a little longer than straight movement. But in this hooking relationship, I've kind of left my arm locked like this. So now, you see how short it is? And in that case, I could use that if he's real close to me. So think about that when you guys are developing your breathing dynamics. This is going to be technique number 3. This is a real straight line movement. That means we actually set the guy up to drive him straight back, and you'll see that as we go through it. Okay, this is going to be off of the left. Now, as he throws the left, and here, what we're doing is I'm holding them right here. I want them to be in this relationship to show you something. About here, hold your hand there. About here, when I'm coming here, I drop down into a kick stance. Now, that's on those 8-4 moves. The reason I'm doing that, he's coming in. What I want to do is hit downward. So this gives me that drop. As I come here, you see how my body drops? Well, that will help you drop down and strike the radial. Driving them down, notice how that nose is really exposed. I'm here, this arm's in this relationship, and he never sees this coming. So I hit here, I come back and heel palm to the nose, it drives him back. You bring his hands up like he started to do. This exposes and loosens up the rib cage and allows me to hit the heart and the lung. And what I'm going to do is I step through and I do a rolling punch, 45-degree angles, come in here and extend right about here and drive with my whole body, gets him going away from me. What I'll do is I'll stay with him, as you'll see in the breathing part, where we pick up the speed. But here it gives me that distance. I want to do a back cross step, and then I'm going to do a blade edge right to the bladder, driving him down and staying low in my stance. Don't stand up like this, because if you stand like this, you're very successful, but your legs are very, very exposed to being broke by someone else, or let's say we missed them let's say we just got him to fall down, and I'm within his legs. Now my legs are straight, and if he's sharp, he'll try to snap my leg. But if my leg is bent in a kick stance or in a horse stance of some kind, then he's not going to hurt me, and I'll be able to take care of the situation. All right, let's run through that one more time with the target call-outs. Okay, off of the left, strike the radial, palm to the nose, double strike to the heart and lung, back cross step, right blade edge into the bladder, driving down, staying bent. All right, now let's run through with the breathing part of it. Okay. One, yeah, yeah, deux. Okay. Again, you're going to hear and keep hearing the same type of basic sounds because our body uses circular hook movements, straight jabbing movements, and we kick. And as far as holding and grappling, then we're going to use a combination. When we're pulling in, we roll, just like lifting weights. You're going to resist, and it has to have the time of your body contracting. In other words, as I breathe and resist, my body's contracting. This is allowing the core of my body, the spinal cord and the deep balance points, basically building a triangle in my body to pull and to cause power in my body. And I do this by breathing. Like that. It locks from my spinal cord, my diaphragm, and works its way into the proper sequence for that particular kind of grab, push, shove, or punch that we will be doing. All right, let's do that one more time off the breathing dynamics. Let's switch it around just to get a different side view. Okay, off that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, stepping forward. All right, we're at technique 4, and 4 is beginning to approach the leverage and throw concept along with punching. All right, this way, here we want to start teaching you how to strike an arm, how to use the hooking motion of your hand, catching it, applying leverage to break it, and then throwing him down. All right, let's get into the technique. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, it's off of a left. Striking down, but when we strike down for catches, we don't want to knock the man out this way. One of the big reasons is we don't want to keep his shoulder level. If he's there, he can spin to various fighting techniques, depending on what style he's learned, because he's in balance. So what we're going to do is, remember, we always take the balance. So what we're going to do is strike straight down here, close to our body. This allows it to come against our body. Then we're going to step back with the right. As we step back with the right, he's still coming forward from the punch, coming down on the ground, making sure the hand must be on the ground. All right? Not only must the hand be on the ground, we want to make sure, as you can see as we come in here, that we want to make sure that this leverage is applied correctly. Now, right now what I'm doing is I'm actually pushing on the outer two finger joints, which causes the hand to twist, locking it down, and causes this to stay down on the ground, keeping him from rolling. If I was to move it this way and push it on the frontward, what happens is it begins to move it up. Now, I might be able to break it, but also here, moving this up allows him to come up and allows him to roll into me. So if I go like this, and now if Blake would roll towards me, as he rolls towards me, the hand basically goes against his roll, and this causes him to break his own wrist, or at least it keeps him away from hurting you. And that's one of the reasons you want to learn, start learning now. We want to start teaching you the most simplest wrist leverages. If done incorrectly, give a very good opportunity for someone else that's trained correctly to counter you. But if you do them correctly, it's broke, and that's what we're trying to do here. So make sure you push down like this. Now, as we accomplish that, what we have to remember is I'm down on my left knee and my right knee's up. This allows me to put my weight over here, stand up, and kick to the floating ribs, loosening them up, spinning around, snapping the arm, just by pulling forward and going through the technique. Only takes 12 pounds of pressure to break that elbow. All right, now we're just going to add the sounds to this technique 4. All right, Blake? Hua. Whoa. There. Whoa. Okay, let's turn it around. Give it a different angle. Like. Hua. Whoa. There. Whoa. Again, finishing out, completing it, using those sounds to help us move. Also, they keep you from getting tired, and they'll help you fight for a continuous amount of time. It's just like runners. If they run down the track and they hold their breath for 100 yards, they're going to be pretty tired at the end. So that's kind of what happens in fighting. You get all excited. You hold your breath. You try to go as fast as you can, and you're tired in 30 seconds. All the guy has to do is stay away from you. You kind of defeat yourself. So remember, breathe. All right, we're at 5 here, and now we're going to integrate the throws. When you learn to fight, you want to learn to punch, kick, throw, and use leverage. All of that applies to both vertical and horizontal, which we'll be dealing with in a little bit later. But right now, we're going to get you into those throws. Okay, this is off of a left, if you read the book. Strike up and down, hooking, but don't grab. It's a strike. Don't grab like that. Don't ever catch an arm. Hit and catch the arm. You want to hit it out of the vector towards your face, leave your hand loose, hit high, and gives you time to slide down, giving you that time to catch. Also, you want to bring it into your body so it's easier for you to trap. At the same time we've done this, we're going to be punching to the floating ribs. Okay? Loosens them up. Our left foot is forward. Our left foot must remain forward in this technique, and we're going to sort of fence step, like fencing. We always keep that forward movement of that front foot, and we don't step left, right. We just shuttle step. So we hit them, shuttle step, keep this down. That's your balance. Keep him forward, down. Now you're going to see this space between my right and my left? Notice it's between his legs, the space between the center of my foot, the left foot, and his foot. Now what I want to do is step equal to the distance between his and mine or greater. All right? I got him close. Keep him tight. Don't get loose. As you stepping, notice as he's pushing, notice how his other foot came off. As he does that, then we just place him over our hip, rotate him in the air, squatting down, staying with him, and then stomp the side of the neck, the jaw, the eye, the nose. The book gives you targets. You can use that, or you can use the ones I showed you. They're all similar. After we throw them, we can pretty much do what we want with them. Now, let's turn that around, because that way we can show you a little bit more about the throw. All right? So, again, we're going to walk through it. Striking, again, do not throw it out over there. Strike down against, the same time, hit the floating ribs. Now, you could do it one and then the other, but as you get better, you're going to want to do this at the same time. Either way, it will work, but the whole technique is to try to teach you to do two things at once. So here we're trying to hit his arm and hit his ribs at the same time and catch him. So here, again, now here, I want to show you this relationship. Notice, now I'm here, I'm not quite deep enough. That's okay. As I hit him here, shuttle step up. That puts you in the center of him. Then you want to take an equal or greater step. Remember, between those 2 feet, this between here or here or here or here. So you don't want to go here, because that's not equal to that step. So what you want to do is you want to take that step all the way over, holding his hand down. Now throw him over, squat with him, keeping this relationship nice and tight. And come up here and pull up and kick down, and that increases your power with the stomp. Now you can kick him to the neck or the temple. All right, now we'll do it with reading, and it's a little more workout speed orientated. Right? Wah! Whoop! Duh! Again, use control. All right? Now, let's do it from another angle, and that will finish this technique up. Remember, this is technique 5. Right? Whoop! What? Duh! All right, that finishes that technique up, and just remember about that breathing dynamic. All right, now we're up to 6. 6 is going to be an attack, and we're going to walk up. We're going to apply an arm bar. We're going to strike the neck, and we're going to throw him with the arm bar, which will break his shoulder. All right? Let's walk through this. Okay, we approach the man. When we come, as we're going to approach, we're going to have our left foot forward, and we're going to natural movement of the hand, palm up. It's going to scoop right here. As we scoop, all right, we put our thumb right on the bend, not down low, but right on the bend. That gives us the power to apply the leverage to the wrist. And as we come in, now when we're doing this, we're going to, at the same time, as we touch this, we've got to be hitting them here. That way there's no counter to this. We're going to knock them out. We're going to knock them a little senseless in essence. Okay? So we come up here, we hit, and then we grab up here, keeping them from going away or struggling with this movement. As we hit, we raise on up. That applies that arm bar. Make sure the elbow goes to the outside of your arm, not to the inside of your arm. Comes up like this. Going forward, again, the same principle as the other throw, equal or greater distance on the other side. So as I step, as you can see here, the arm's ready to break. All I do now, in practice, you pull with the head, don't push with the arm. So I pull on his head, keeping my hand there. He comes over. As he comes over, I drop down, punch to the neck. If he rolls on over like this, still hold the head down and punch to the neck. All right? It's a pretty simple technique. Again, we'll do the same type of approach. Walking up to the man. Very simple. You just come up. One. Now see, that's all one move, so that's how you have to think about it. Make sure you get that lock. Make sure as you come up, the elbow is cradling or over your arm, not under. Because then notice when it comes under, notice how my wrist is being put on a leverage. It can be very difficult to hold them. So come up under here. Your wrist is fine. You come forward, take that equal or greater step, pull on his head, throw him over, drop on down on your knee, hold him on the ground, punch to the neck. It's always a good policy when you throw people, you're not sure that you've hurt them, you just got him over. Hold his head down on the ground. If his head's up an inch, it gives his whole body the ability to wrestle, grapple, or move around. If it's on the ground holding it, it makes it very difficult for him to really be efficient at movement of any kind. Okay, now let's try the sounds. It's ought to be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We're going to do it from this angle, and then I'll switch it around. Okay, walk up. Now, let me just tell you about it. You don't yell before you touch a man. You've got to do it exactly the same time, because if you do, sound travels faster than your hands can possibly travel. So he's going to be flinching. So, walk up, left foot forward, walk. Yeah. Again, he's up, so I'm just holding it here. If he rolls all the way over, I push it down on the ground and hold it. Okay, let's do it from a different side. On here, I want to stand over there. Okay. Approaching. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Now here, I can go, yeah, and that will hold me and penetrate a nice snapping punch, which would accomplish it. Now, if I really wanted to drive through and really damage it, I would do the ho sound. That would make my whole body release and throw all my weight right through the neck. And I could very easily break the neck in that way, because I've got at least 80, 90 pounds, half of my body weight, driving in through there, plus whatever speed I produce. So it can be very damaging. So you can use either one of those breathing dynamics to help you produce those kinds of power. All right, now we're up to lesson number 7. This is your first kick. Now, to us, kicks are pretty simple. We use the same principle. We strike them just like we would the arm. The arm has nerves in it, or the leg has nerves in it. The only problem is most people never learn how or the angle of projection, how it affects the eye. What kicks will do to most people is, because I'm standing up here, and his rotational joints for the kicking is right down here, they're actually below my peripheral focus, or my peripheral vision. There's very little of it. What I normally look at as a fighter, as someone fighting someone else, if your head's up here, or in this relationship right here, your main focus is somewhere in here, and your peripheral really picks up, the dominant peripheral, picks up the shoulder movement and the elbow movement. So that's why it seems to be much easier for us to determine when someone's throwing a punch which one it is and how fast it's coming at us. So it's harder for you to, in essence, sucker punch us if we're paying attention to it. But it seems like all the questions we get is, what if the guy kicks you and does this or does that? Because apparently everybody has a hard problem determining kicks. But if you learn a few things about it, one is, if you get down lower, that dominant peripheral that we just talked about, you put it down here, and these look so slow. So it's very, very easy, but then again, you have to get out of the process of standing up, and I'm going to approach you, I'm standing up like this, versus when I decide to fight you, look, if I'm going to fight you, and I have to fight you, you're going to force me to fight you. I'm being compliant. I'm trying to get out of this. But if I know you're going to be aggressive, in other words, and how do I tell? Because every time I move back, he keeps moving forward. So I keep saying, well, I don't want to do this. He's just not going to let me get out of it. So now I have to switch that little mechanism inside of me and say, look, I've got to take this guy out. So when I'm standing here, the first thing I'll start to do is I immediately come in low, because when I'm down here, I see those kicks. And I see the hands. They're of equal nature, in essence. They're equally balanced. And it allows me to see the hands and the feet move as easy as just the hands did when I was standing up here. So that's one cue if you want to try that. All right? In here, so what we're going to do, we're going to deal with a right kick. And that kick's going to be a piston kick, because those are the pretty first basic kinds of kicks that we get kicked with out on the street or even in combat. Those fancy kicks don't really happen in combat because they're just too fancy, they're too risky. So a good old practical stomp kick or a good old piston kick right to the groin or the center line is normally what you're going to receive. But we don't want to focus on that, but that's what this one particular technique is. So the first thing before we start this, the first thing that happens is I got my hands down. If I put my hands up, now I got to bring my hands all the way down here. Well, if Blake sticks his arm out, stick your arm out. Just stick your arm out. Now notice he can't reach me, and he even leaned forward on that. But now if you go back and he kicks it, puts his foot out, all right, and he starts to lean forward a little bit, all right, he'll contact me. And if it's an aggressive mode, he would have kicked me first. So basically the concept is, why do I want to hold my hands up here if all he can really attack me with is his feet? And his feet have always got to come past this angle right here. So if you're up here, you got to come all the way back down and do things. So here's just basically an approach, and he's going to kick me first. So as I come up, he kicks with his right. We're going to come across, rotating. In other words, I don't back up. I just merely rotate, keep this down, and I'm going to hit the nerve that's right in the calf. And you can see that on the chart if you want the name for it. I give you something to look for. All right, so you hit that nerve, and that affects the ankle support mechanism. In this case, if I did it, he may fall or stumble, but we're assuming maybe I didn't get it quite as good as I wanted to. So the first thing is to hit. That puts his leg out. And we're going to come across the diaphragm. Now, remember what I talked about getting down? What I want to do is get down, and I want to get below his chin if I can. That's based off his primary state. That means his natural height. I want to get below it then. As we fight, we want to keep trying to get lower and lower. Okay? Down. Okay? Now, that gives that opening. He's like this. Now, if I was right in front of him, I couldn't do the next move. But I'm not. I'm out to the side. It's very easy to slide up, do that shuffle step with the right, knee right into the groin. Okay? If I knee to the groin or the bladder, well, there's a little difference there. If I knee to the groin, his chin comes up slightly, and that gives that little cradle there. It also exposes the throat, and that's what this technique is for. So I hit the groin, exposes the throat, cradles this, put my foot directly down, make a big sweeping movement here, come up with my knee into his throat, and hammer the back of the head at the same time, and that would take a man's life. All right, now let's run through that one more time, a little smoother, just by using the target call-out method. Okay, Blake? Okay, inside of the calf, diaphragm, groin, hammer to the back of the neck, and into the throat with the knee. Okay? Never knee directly into the chin or mouth. You don't want to get cut. You don't want to get infected. All right? Now, let's see what it looks like when we add sounds to it. Blake? hua, hua, duh, hua. Okay, that last one, it was sort of a combination between hua and hua, so it was more expounding. Now I could go hua, all right, or I can use a snappy motion if I feel I don't want to expose it that much. I can go da. Now that last what I just did had a little D sound, not an H sound in it. That helped me snap that knee up and bring this down on it. You can try those different variances and learn to feel how sounds make your body move differently. That's what we're trying to get to. We want you to teach yourself. That's why we're giving you these global concepts of correct fighting methods. The science of breathing, the science of mechanics of the body. How does it work? The triangulation of it. Okay, that affects the balance system. Now here I want to give you a cue before we go any farther out of this. When you hit the leg, when I hit here, okay, it's kind of hard for me to stand up, but I want you to be here before that foot hits the ground. That's the timing of a leg strike. You do not want to strike the leg, then attack. Why don't I want to do that? Because when his foot hits the ground, he's in control. Because I'm never sure that I hit my target perfectly. That's why we give you consecutive targets. This system is basically a 1 to 2 strikes, and it's over if you hit those targets. But we're human beings. We make mistakes. So that's why we have these sequential follow-ups. All right. Let's do that one more time with the sound, and we'll turn it around just for a little different angle. All right, Blake? One, that. Again, control. You don't want to hurt your partner. All right, we're at lesson number 8. Again, make sure you've read it before you try it, and then watch us do it, and that'll give you a good concept of how you're supposed to do this. All right, now lesson 8 is going to be off of a left punch. Okay, as he throws that left punch, you immediately put this foot here. You want to turn it at least 45-degree angle. It's the best way to do this. Then you're going to come up and heel stomp to the heart, step forward. Step forward, you're going to snap kick to the knee, and then immediately sweep, and you're going to be striking right across the collarbone or across the throat, depending on how much damage you want to do the individual. How much force do you need to take this man under control? Okay, so I strike down, and at this point, I pivot here, and a good target for this is a knee stomp in the book. Again, because this is a combat-orientated book, we want to make sure that the enemy is damaged, so he can't come back again to the field and be used against us. So remember, as you're seeing, this is more of a combat-orientated techniques. You can see as we start to go through it, it starts out at a simple fight situation where you can use to knock the man out. So now we're starting to about breaking arms and dislocating joints. And also, in this case, we're actually going to smash or dislocate the knee. All right, let's try that one more time. Target call out. Okay, first, heart, knee, sweep, and strike, either collarbone or throat. Then pivot back over here, bring this foot up, and keep this straight, and do a nice stomp, smashing the kneecap. And that way he's not going to get up. All right, now we can do that with sounds, pretty quick, simple. Throw. Da, da, wha, do. There I noticed that last sound was like a do. And that means because I'm kicking, but I'm also want to drive a little more weight, I open my diaphragm up, and it allows my body to drop through. Try it. And it does work your body that way. All right, we're on lesson number 9. And in the book, we use it as a running attack. So I want to show you that approach, but then I'm going to show you how to take it and put it into a fighting sequence. That means if someone throws a punch at you, and you want to hit them maybe 2 or 3 times before you do this particular move on them. But first, let's demonstrate it as though it is given in the book. It was meant to do a running attack. What we didn't want to do is teach them to come in like a wrestler does, which we really don't like, which always exposes our central nervous system too dramatically to the individual. That means you run at the guy and you put your head forward and you come in and do sort of like an old football tackle. What we're trying to do here is when we come in, we want to keep our central nervous system away from his hands. And when we come in like this, it's trapping this hand, or at least what's happening is our head's out over here, and it's going to be much more difficult for him to get a hold of our spinal cord and the top of our head to break our neck. And that's what kills people with hand-to-hand situations. All right? So how will we do the approach? Very simple. I'm going to slow it down. All right? First thing you do is you come up from here. You got to pace yourself. It's pretty simple, but you're going to put your left foot forward. It's the best way to do it. You can do it off the right. It just gives you a greater lunge. But here we want to left foot down as our pivot point. We come up. This foot comes here. We slam with our body right across his diaphragm. Grab the back of his leg. Drop on down. Now, here I kind of support myself so I'm not hitting him, but what I'm really going to do is just let all my body weight hit right up into that diaphragm, pushing up into his lungs, and that just takes his breath right away. It also can split his rib cage. But basically the idea is to drop here, and then you just come back over here, hit, side of the neck, keep his head down, keep pressure on the side of the neck, get up on his head in essence, because why? It's harder to get up, harder for him to move if his head's pinned down. And then we punch to the side of the neck, that knocks him out, and that finishes the technique. It's a very quick run-through technique. It was designed to sort of have people, when they're running or attacking a bunker or attacking an individual in the middle of a road, something where I want to knock them off the road and I want to take them out in the side of the gully and so forth, and this is really good. That way we're not wrestling right in the middle of the road. Now, this is combat, so we don't want to be out where everybody can see us. Just want to hit them and take them down, and that's what this was kind of designed for. We thought you'd kind of enjoy some of this information because this is what the Navy SEALs asked for when we developed it. This is the original unedited version of the BUDS curriculum that was first introduced in 1989. So again, let's take that with some sound. Now, what are we going to do with sound? It's pretty simple, all right? I'm going to approach. I'm going to be in a running approach. Or in here, I just lunge, come up, one, yeah. And when I go, yeah, it's just to tighten me up, make me solid so I can drive through into his diaphragm. Then you just, from here, yeah, roll over here, it's, yeah. With the back elbow nice and short and crisp, push down, get up, and it's another, yeah. Or, in this case, I want more drive-through. What did I say? Oh! And that will make my fist just sort of release and drive all my weight right into his neck, which is most likely going to dislocate his vertebrae, or it might even break his neck. So again, depends on what kind of force you want to use. That's what kind of breathing dynamics you'd like to train yourself to do. And in real situations, I may not even make the sound, but since I've trained like this, my body knows exactly what I need when I need it. Okay, now, I told you we'd put this into a fighting sequence for you. It's very simple, all right? Blake goes punch, say I strike down, 1, okay? 1, and I say I want to hit the heart, 2, all right? Now, from here, I come up, I'm going to hit his knee, but not hard. And then 3, I hit him up, bringing him up, 3, now there's my setup, 3, then I step with my left, come forward, drive down, I'm controlling it here, driving down, hit, come up, hold, and punch. Now I'm going to show you this, another sample of it. Again, this is the versatility of SCARD. It's up to you. When you learn mathematics, in essence, you can't count to 1 to a billion or a trillion. You just don't have enough time, but you know how. Now, if you didn't know the mechanics, you were just learning some little technique over here, and you didn't understand what it's about, you'd only count to how much they told you. Like if you could learn to count from 1 to 10, and it's some special technique, then you say, oh, wow, I know how to count from 1 to 10. But you don't know how to use it. And that's why every one of these have tremendous, every 5 sequence has at least 150, 120 different ways to do that sequence. Every 5 of them that you get. So don't look at this like the manual itself says that when we're done with these techniques, you have some 5,000 combinations. But if you're not intelligent, you're just going to copy the technique. But if you're looking for the science of human control, then you're going to understand the 5,000 ways. And I'll show you another way. Same technique, only going to do it off of a kick. Okay, let's say he throws a left kick this time. Left kick, I come to the outside from here. Now, wait a minute, Jerry. How are you going to do that? It's very simple. I come across here, all right? As I come across here, maybe I want to hook to this jaw, spinning him around. Now look how he's open. As he spins around from there, put my left foot forward, come in, body slam him, drive down, hit the knee, come up and punch. Now, again, I can choose to stop at the body slam. Just depends on what I want to do. That's what SCARS is about trying to find intelligent people to learn intelligent ways, mechanisms, if you will, to learn how to protect yourself. It's about control. If you don't want to take somebody's life, you don't have to. But if you want to, you know how. And that's what this is about. All right, you're at technique 10. You should already be well on your way to good exercise as far as working out with each other. You should definitely start understanding the breathing dynamics. We're here to give you that. Like in the book, I believe it even says the instructors will give you more specific knowledge about breathing dynamics. Well, here I am, and I'm giving them to you, so just don't say, oh, I can do that. When you guys get out on that mat, or you get in your garage, or you get wherever you're practicing with someone, get rid of your intimidation part about making noise. Fighting is fighting, and you have to learn to just sort of be free and uninhibited, because if you're not uninhibited, you can't be a good fighter. Because if you're inhibited, you're not going to want to do things. You're not going to punch him when you should. You're not going to hit him when you should. You're not going to be the first move because you're inhibited. You're intimidated. You can't be that. If your natural personality is intimidation, then you got to make yourself a little click inside of you that says, hey, over here I'm Mr. Nice Guy, but over here I'm not afraid of doing anything, and I'm not afraid of being loud, and I'm not afraid of being noticed, because that's what I want. I want to be aggressive and assertive. So again, you should well be on that, and that's why we make those sounds too, to help you get that sort of confidence out in you. All right, so lesson number 10. Lesson number 10 is off of a right. Now what you're going to do is you're going to step in. Now if you're too close to him, you're not going to step in. Like say if I'm right here and he throws it, you merely go into that kick stance, you bring your elbow up, and you're going to strike right here to the mucosal spiral or to the bicep right here. You're going to strike there, and it's going to come up, and you're going to strike to the trachea. Not the Adam's apple, it's the trachea. At the same time, you're going to come over here now, and you're going to punch the heart. All this will kind of nullify this man, move him back. Then you're going to step in and hook to the jaw with 4-joint strike, right to the jaw, as it says in the book. Okay, that spins him that way. You're going to take your left foot, you're going to come all the way around, and both your feet, notice how his feet are pointing that way? That's how yours has to do. Now, all you're going to do is bump him, keep pushing him, and just hold his foot down, and as he falls, then you pick him up. Don't try to pick him up. If he weighs 300 pounds, you're not going to do it. But if you get him to move his weight over that outside foot, that's why you're bumping him and driving him, it's very easy to pick him up and rotate him. In fact, if you time it just right, you can get a nice slam on it, because basically he's doing it all for you. So you have a hold of his pant leg here or his leg. You take a little shuffle step here, and then you kick right to the temple. And if you kick to the temple, that's probably going to definitely knock him out, but it could take his life. So if you don't want to do that, you could kick him to the ribs, or you'll have to kick him at all, depending if you got all those other shots in. Now, let's turn that around a little bit and see if that gives you a little different angle. All right, we'll just do the target call-out method. Throw it, okay? You're going to hit the bicep, throat, heart, hook to the jaw, come right around, pushing forward, picking up, toe kick right to the temple, and you're finished with the technique. The SCARS techniques are very, very short, because if you hit your target, the body just simply collapses. It's the same thing as shooting. If I'm hunting and I see a deer and I shoot it, and I hit the tree next to it, he starts running. And I hit another tree and another tree, pretty soon he's gone. And if I'm in combat, if I turn over and I shoot somebody and I miss him, he's going to shoot back. And if he shoots back and hits me, I don't get a second time. And it's the same thing we go into fighting. If I miss him, I'm not going to get those effects that I was planning on. So you see, there's no golden cure. You have got to hit your targets. That is your responsibility after practicing the targets. All right, that's why we kind of create, and we have it always in our gym here, we have our pat dummy, which simply allows us to hit those targets and practice hitting those targets. So let's see what it sounds like now. Put the sound into it, and it will be pretty quick. Okay, Blake? Yeah! What? What? Okay, pretty simple, all right? The biggest problem everybody seems to have when they go through the sounds and when they start working out, it's not getting these targets in. A lot of people at first, you'll find that when he throws a punch, you'll kind of be like this, and you'll feel like this is going to hit you. Okay, the reason that is because, remember what I said, here's where he's at, and what you want to do is try to get down, down, and down, at least below his chin. Now watch what happens. When I'm here and he's throwing it, notice how my chin is exposed. Okay? Now, if I just start dropping down lower, notice how it's the top of my head, but this is right here. Now I'm not exposing myself. In fact, if I come in like this, you can hardly see me. The idea is all this is protected. At the same time, I'm just hitting. It's just coming in, hitting, keeping my eyes right up here, dropping me down. That gets me down low, striking the throat and the heart at the same time. So you're hitting 3 different targets. This is a very advanced skill. And each one of those targets have a different kind of force that has to be applied to them to make them efficient. So the first one, hitting an arm like this, takes 5 pounds of pressure and you affect that nerve because that nerve is very sensitive, soft tissue. It's very easy to get into it with this hard point. And the second one we're hitting is the trachea. Okay? The trachea is, again, soft tissue. We're hitting it, and it takes very little to actually affect it. Maybe another 5, 10 pounds of pressure, give you a nice choke effect. Now the heart, though, the heart needs 30, 50, and up, depending on the stature of the man, to cause that stunning effect. It means basically it's like a knockout shot. And, you know, if you don't think you can be knocked out by a heart, just look at the old boxing films, and that's how Muhammad Ali got knocked out by Joe Frazier. He got hooked to the heart, and it dropped him to the canvas. So, again, but you got to hit him with enough pressure. So this whole technique is designed, as I'm coming in here, you notice the rotation. This is more as just your ancillary target, and this is your dominant one. Heart, that gives him back. Then you can come here, and when you hook this way, you give him time to rotate. And that will allow you to step in and move around. So when you're practicing that particular technique, again, these are advancing through the mechanism. Don't plan on just getting the book and then in 3 minutes going, oh, I want to do that technique. These are designed to take you from 0 to be able to handle a professional. And that's what this system was designed for, to start them on the road as individuals through BUDS and through the basic SEAL teams and then into advanced tactics when you get into the IQS and more instructor qualifications and more operational specific duties. But this here gives you a good idea of how they start. And in other series, you're going to see us taking each one of these techniques and using a knife, a club, a pistol, and a rifle, because that's what it was designed for too. And so you'd be really interested as you see those techniques occur. Okay, that finishes the sound part up, but let's do it one more time from the other angle. Blake, you want to get on the other side? Just to give you another sample of the sounds and the movement as it goes together. Okay, Blake? Yeah! Whoa! Duh! Again, using those sounds to help us move and to remember to breathe. Again, like I said before, a lot of people just simply forget to breathe. Even when you're working out, they're getting excited, they're having a lot of fun. They're holding their breath every 3 to 4 moves, and then they breathe again. And every 15 minutes, they're over there sitting down, and they're not learning anything. That's not the idea. If you can get this system, you must remain on the mat for 45 minutes straight, doing consistent workouts, not talking, but consistent workouts. When you can get there and do a technique, that's about every 3 seconds you're doing. Each one of you are doing different techniques every 3 seconds. When you're there and you do it for a constant 45 minutes, you'll be able to run a 5-minute mile. You'll be able to swim as far as you want. You'll be able to use your body any way you want, because this is better than swimming, because we're actually, instead of just our own resistance in water, we're actually going to be using a 150 to 200-pound man or greater, throwing them around while we're resisting. So that's why we get up that heart rate up. That's why you start, those of you a little overweight and you start doing this, you're going to lose your weight. Those who are a little thin, you're going to start putting on weight because your muscle mass is needed. It's all about naturally tuning your body, and that's what this is for. Okay, we'll go to the next technique.